The sand beneath Maya's boots was stained rust-red, and it wasn't from minerals. She stood in the center of the arena, chest heaving, knuckles split and bleeding. Around her, 50,000 voices roared in a language she'd only begun to understand during her 3 months in captivity. The translator implant behind her ear buzzed with their chants: Deathworlder, Savage, Monster. Across the blood-soaked floor, her opponent twitched its last. The Krell warrior had been twice her size, armored in natural bone plating that should have made it invincible. Should have. Maya had found the soft tissue at the neck joint on her 4th attempt, after it had cracked 2 of her ribs and nearly torn her arm from its socket. She didn't celebrate. Celebration got you killed. The massive doors at the arena's north end groaned open. Maya's stomach dropped. They never opened the north doors unless something special was coming. Something worse. A figure emerged from the darkness beyond, sleek, scaled, moving with liquid grace. Zarathi. The Empire's elite warrior caste. This one wore ceremonial blades on all forearms and had kill marks tattooed up its elongated neck. Hundreds of them. Maya was going to die here. She'd known it was possible from the moment the Galactic Concordat's Justice Fleet had found her drifting in the wreckage of the transport ship. They didn't care that she'd been a passenger, not crew. They didn't care that she'd been in cryosleep when the ship's captain decided to run contraband through restricted space. Human judicial rights didn't exist out here. Earth wasn't even a recognized member species. Humanity had barely achieved faster-than-light travel before the galaxy noticed them, and the Concordat's official position was that Earth's admission was under review indefinitely. So when they needed someone to blame for the dead Concordat officials found in the wreckage, Maya had been convenient. A Deathworlder with no legal standing. The tribunal had taken 4 minutes. Her sentence: gladiatorial combat until death. Her remains to be processed as restitution for the families of the deceased. She'd survived 7 fights. The average was 2. The Zarathi circled her, all 4 eyes tracking her movement with predatory focus. The crowd's roar intensified. Maya's ribs screamed with each breath, but she forced herself to stand straight, to watch all 4 of its blade hands. She'd studied Zarathi anatomy during her brief time in the holding cells, bartering food rations for access to other prisoners' knowledge chips. They were fast. Faster than anything she'd faced. It lunged. Maya dropped and rolled, sand spraying. Blades whistled overhead. She came up swinging, aiming for the knee joint, but the Zarathi was already gone, repositioning with inhuman speed. It struck again, and this time Maya wasn't quick enough. Pain exploded across her shoulder as a blade opened her skin from collarbone to bicep. She stumbled back, hot blood soaking her prison-issue combat suit. The Zarathi's mandibles clicked, laughter she'd learned. The sound they made before a kill. But Maya didn't retreat further. Instead, she did something the Zarathi didn't expect. She attacked. Not with technique or strategy, but with the raw, desperate aggression of a species that had clawed its way to the top of its world's food chain through sheer stubborn refusal to die. She drove forward, ignoring the blades that cut her arms, her sides, her face. She got inside its guard, too close for the ceremonial blades to be effective, and drove her fist into what she hoped was its breathing cavity. The Zarathi wheezed. Staggered. Maya hit it again. And again. Her vision tunneled, her whole world narrowing to the next punch, the next target. Blood ran into her eyes, hers, its, she couldn't tell. Didn't matter. The Zarathi's 4 arms wrapped around her, trying to crush her, to create distance. But Maya had grown up wrestling her 3 older brothers, and later, surviving bar fights on frontier mining stations where asking questions was considered rude. She knew how to fight when someone was bigger, stronger, better armed. You found the soft parts. You didn't stop. And you sure as hell didn't fight fair. She twisted, found a gap in its grip, and sank her teeth into its neck. The Zarathi's blood tasted like copper and electricity. It shrieked, thrashing, and Maya held on like a pit bull, her jaw locked around alien flesh while her hands searched frantically for something vital. Her fingers found a ridge of cartilage, the breathing tube she'd read about. She squeezed. The Zorathi's movements became frantic, then weak, then stopped. Maya released her grip and fell backward into the sand, gasping. Her mouth was full of alien blood, her body one massive bruise wrapped around broken bones. But she was alive. The crowd had gone silent. Maya forced herself to her knees, then to her feet, swaying. The translator implant was going haywire, picking up 1,000 whispered conversations at once. She caught fragments, impossible. Deathworlder strength. How did it move so fast with those injuries? What kind of species? A single chime cut through the noise, pure and commanding. Every being in the arena fell silent and stood. Even the wounded guards at the perimeter struggled to their feet. Maya turned toward the royal box, high above the arena floor. The silhouette behind the shielded viewing port had risen. For 3 months, Maya had fought while that figure watched, never moving, never reacting. She'd assumed it was some Concordat official, logging death matches for bureaucratic records. Now, the shield retracted. The being that looked down at her was like nothing Maya had encountered. Easily 9 feet tall, with skin that shimmered like oil on water, shifting through colors Maya didn't have names for. A crown of crystalline horns curved back from an elongated skull, and 6 eyes, regarded her with an intelligence that made Maya's spine go rigid. This was no official. The translator implant spoke in a voice like wind chimes and thunder. "Bring the human to my chambers. Immediately." Maya's legs gave out, and the world went black before she hit the sand. Maya woke to the smell of antiseptic, and the sensation of being whole in a way she hadn't felt in months. She jerked upright, immediately regretting it as her head spun, but there was no pain. No broken ribs, no torn shoulder, no split knuckles. She was in a chamber carved from what looked like black glass, lying on a platform that hummed with soft blue light. Medical equipment she didn't recognize surrounded her, and her prison combat suit had been replaced with simple gray clothing that actually fit. "Your species has remarkable regenerative capacity when properly supported." Maya spun toward the voice. The being from the royal box stood in the doorway, though stood seemed inadequate for the way it held itself. It had to duck slightly to enter, its crystalline crown nearly scraping the ceiling. "Where?" Maya's voice came out as a croak. She cleared her throat. "Where am I?" "The medical wing of the royal residence. I am Kalara Jintath, Queen Ascendant of the Concordat." The being moved closer with fluid grace. "And you, I have discovered, are something unprecedented." Maya's mind raced. She'd been brought before royalty before, minor nobles who'd wanted to see the Deathworlder up close before betting on her matches. But this was different. The Queen Ascendant ruled the entire Concordat, spoke for 10,000 member species across half the galaxy. "I don't understand," Maya said carefully. "Neither did I. For 3 months I watched you fight." Kalara's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, an expression Maya couldn't read. "You survived encounters that should have killed you a dozen times over. The Krell champion. The Vrax pack hunters. The crystalline warrior from Sector 9. And today, a Zorathi blade master. I got lucky." "No." The word cut like a knife. "Luck is a variable. What you displayed was something else. So I had your genetic material analyzed." Kalara pulled up a holographic display with one elegant hand. The results were illuminating. Maya's blood went cold. She'd heard stories about what happened when the Concordat found something biologically interesting. Entire species catalogued and studied like bacteria in a lab. "Your people call yourselves human, yes?" Kalara continued. "From a world you've designated Earth, 3rd planet in a yellow star system on the galactic rim?" "Yes." "Your admission to the Concordat has been under review for 73 of your years. Do you know why?" Maya shook her head. "Because the initial survey teams couldn't decide if you were a Deathworld species or if your planet was simply aggressive." Kalara's colors shifted to something that might have been amusement. "Your gravity is 1.3 standard. Your atmospheric oxygen content is toxic to most species. Your native diseases are considered Class 7 biohazards. And your dominant life forms, including yourselves, are persistence hunters with redundant organ systems and pain tolerance that borders on the absurd. We're survivors, Maya said quietly. You are weapons. Kalara deactivated the hologram. The Concordat has protocols for integrating Death World species. Strict limitations on military service, mandatory genetic counseling, restricted travel permits. But humans. She made a sound like crystals chiming. Humans were placed in bureaucratic limbo because the survey teams couldn't agree on your threat classification. Maya felt a cold rage building in her chest. So you left us isolated. Ignored? And when one of us ended up in your justice system, you threw her in an arena to die because she didn't have legal protections. Yes. Kalara's directness was startling. That is precisely what happened. And it was wrong. The anger deflated, replaced by confusion. What? I have been Queen Ascendant for 147 standard years. I have ruled justly, I have expanded our borders peacefully, and I have maintained prosperity across 10,000 species. But I have also allowed bureaucracy to become cruelty. Kalara's 6 eyes fixed on Maya with uncomfortable intensity. You should not be here. The moment the Justice Fleet discovered you were from an uncontacted species, they should have initiated diplomatic protocols, not criminal prosecution. But that would have required effort, paperwork, and political capital. It was easier to condemn you. Maya didn't know what to say. She'd spent 3 months convinced the entire galaxy saw her as disposable. Hearing the most powerful being in known space admit fault was surreal. I cannot undo what has been done to you, Kalara continued. But I can ensure it never happens again. To you, or any other human. How? By granting Earth immediate Concordat membership, with full legal protections and diplomatic status. By issuing a formal apology on behalf of the Concordat justice system. And by offering you a position that will ensure your people are never overlooked again. Maya's laugh was bitter. What position could possibly matter after liaison to the Death World Integration Program, advocate for species under bureaucratic review, and advisor to the throne on matters of justice reform? Kalara's colors shifted to deep crimson. I am old, human. I have seen empires rise and fall. And I have learned that the greatest threats to civilization are not external enemies, but internal indifference. You survived 3 months in my arena because you refused to accept that your life was forfeit. I need people who fight like that, not in the sand, but in council chambers and diplomatic halls. Maya stood slowly, her new clothes feeling strange against skin that had forgotten what it was like to be uninjured. And if I refuse? Then, you will be granted full pardon, transported to Earth with compensation, and given every resource to rebuild your life. The choice is yours. Kalara extended one long-fingered hand. But I hope you will consider staying. Your species is about to enter the galactic stage. They will need someone who understands both human tenacity and Concordat politics. Maya looked at the offered hand. 3 months ago, she'd been a nobody, a freelance engineer hitching a ride to a mining station, hoping for contract work. Now she was standing in a royal chamber, being offered a chance to shape humanity's future in the stars. She thought of the other prisoners in the holding cells. The ones who'd shared their knowledge chips with her, who'd whispered advice before her fights even though they'd never see freedom again. Most of them were from species caught in the same bureaucratic limbo that had condemned her. Someone needed to fight for them. Maya clasped Kalara's hand. The skin was cool and smooth, like polished stone. I'll do it. But I have conditions. The Queen Ascendant's colors rippled, surprise, perhaps, or approval. Name them. Everyone currently imprisoned under the same legal loophole that caught me gets a retrieval and full pardon. No exceptions. Agreed. Earth's membership comes with full military cooperation rights. My people don't do well when others dictate our security. Within reason, yes. And I want access to the arena records. Every fight, Every prisoner, every species that's been condemned because they didn't have the right paperwork. Maya's grip tightened. I'm going to learn every loophole, every protocol, every bureaucratic weapon that's been used to justify cruelty. And then, I'm going to close them, one by one. Kalara's 6 eyes blazed with light. When she spoke, her voice resonated through the chamber like a physical force. You survived the arena, human. Now let us see if you can survive politics. Maya smiled, tasting blood from a split lip that had already healed. Your Majesty, I grew up on Earth. Politics is just another kind of fighting, and fighting is what we do best. The diplomatic transport was the first human-built vessel granted access to Concordat Core, the massive station that served as the Empire's political heart. Maya stood at the observation port, watching the structure grow larger as they approached. It was beautiful in an overwhelming way, a construct the size of a small moon, built from materials that seemed to drink in starlight and glow with inner luminescence. Behind her, Ambassador Chen cleared his throat. Still can't believe this is happening. 6 months ago, we were begging for scraps of information about the Concordat. Now we're full members. With strings attached, Maya reminded him. She'd spent the last 3 months on Earth, recovering and preparing. The strings were complex. Human military forces would integrate with Concordat defense fleets, human legal systems would align with Concordat standards, and humanity would accept limits on expansion into certain sectors. But in exchange, Earth gained access to technologies that would leapfrog them centuries forward, trade partnerships that would end scarcity, and most importantly, legal protections for any human traveling in Concordat space. No one else would end up in the arena. Ms. Santos? A young aide approached, nervous. We're being hailed by the station. Queen Ascendant Kalara is requesting your immediate presence in the Council of Species. Maya straightened her formal jacket, the gray diplomatic uniform still feeling foreign compared to her usual work clothes. Tell her I'm on my way. The council chamber was even more impressive in person than in the holographic briefings. A vast spherical space with seating arranged in concentric rings, each level designated for different tiers of Concordat membership. At the chamber's center, suspended by technology Maya didn't understand, floated the throne of unity, currently occupied by Kalara, her crystalline crown catching light from 10,000 different worlds' representatives. Maya's assigned seat was in the second ring, shockingly close to the center. A statement from Kalara about humanity's importance, and one that had already generated angry murmurs from species who'd waited centuries for such placement. She took her seat, acutely aware of the thousands of eyes, and other sensory organs, focused on her. Kalara's voice resonated through the chamber, translated instantly into every language present. We convene today to formalize the admission of species designation, human, from the world Earth, as full members of the Galactic Concordat. A chorus of acknowledgments echoed back, though Maya noticed several sections remained conspicuously silent. Additionally, Kalara continued, we addressed the matter of judicial reform, as proposed by Liaison Maya Santos of Earth. Now the murmurs grew louder. Maya had spent her 3 months of preparation well, building alliances with representatives from other species who'd been victims of bureaucratic cruelty. She'd expected resistance, but support had materialized from unexpected quarters. Trade guilds tired of losing members to legal technicalities, medical associations horrified by the conditions in holding facilities, even military commanders who'd lost promising recruits to the arena system. A representative from the Krell Dominion rose, its massive frame making even Kalara look small. Maya recognized the species. She'd killed one of their warriors in her second arena fight. The Krell acknowledged the human's survival prowess. It rumbled, the translator rendering its language into something approximating respect. But we question the wisdom of allowing a single individual, a criminal, no less, to reshape centuries of legal precedent. Maya stood before Kalara could respond. Her heart hammered, but she kept her voice steady. I was convicted of crimes I didn't commit, by a system that didn't recognize my right to defend myself, and sentenced to death for convenience. If that's your legal precedent, then, yes, it needs reshaping. You are alive. The Krell countered. You fought with honor and won your freedom. The arena has been a Concordat tradition for 1800 years. Maya interrupted, pulling up her data pad. I've read the histories. It was created as a way to resolve territorial disputes without war. Champions would fight in place of armies. Noble, even practical. But in the last 4 centuries, it's been corrupted. 87% of current arena prisoners are from non-member or reviewing species. 63% were convicted under emergency protocols that bypass standard judicial review. The arena isn't tradition anymore. It's a dumping ground. The chamber erupted in arguments. Maya stood her ground, watching Kalara carefully. The Queen Ascendant's colors had shifted to something complex, pride perhaps, mixed with calculation. A Zarathi representative slithered forward. Maya's hand instinctively moved to where her knife would be, if diplomatic protocols allowed weapons. The human killed one of our blade masters. A warrior of impeccable skill and honor. Yet she stands here, unpunished, dictating policy? I stand here because your warrior was trying to kill me. Maya shot back. Because I was thrown into an arena and told to fight or die, given no other choice. If your blade master had honor, he died serving an unjust system. The Zarathi's mandibles flared with rage, but Kalara's voice cut through the rising noise like a blade. Enough. Silence fell instantly. Liaison Santos speaks truth that many find uncomfortable. The arena has strayed from its original purpose. The question before this council is not whether reform is needed. I have reviewed her evidence, and it is conclusive. The question is whether we have the courage to change. Kalara's 6 eyes swept the chamber. I have ruled the Concordat for nearly 150 years. I have seen us accomplish wonders. But I have also watched us become complacent, allowing convenience to trump justice. If we cannot reform our own systems, how can we claim to be worthy of the trust our member species place in us? A representative from the Luminar Collective rose, beings of pure energy contained in crystalline matrices. Queen Ascendant, we acknowledge the need for reform. But giving such authority to a single liaison, especially one so new to our politics, seems unwise. Which is why I propose a compromise, Kalara said. Liaison Santos will head a reform committee, comprised of representatives from 20 species across all membership tiers. They will review all cases currently in the arena system, audit judicial protocols for all non-member species, and propose comprehensive reforms. Their recommendations will be presented to this council within 1 standard year. Maya felt the weight of thousands of stares. A year to reshape the legal framework of an empire that spanned half the galaxy. It was impossible. But then, so was surviving 7 arena fights. I accept, she said clearly. The vote took 4 hours. There were objections, amendments, political maneuvering that made Maya's head spin. But in the end, the measure passed with a clear majority. Maya Santos, former prisoner, was now one of the most powerful legal reformers in the known galaxy. As the session ended and representatives filed out, Kalara descended from the throne of unity. Up close, her presence was overwhelming, not threatening, but immense, like standing at the base of a mountain. You spoke well, the Queen Ascendant said. Better than I expected, honestly. Most humans I've observed tend toward emotional appeals rather than data. You've been watching us? Maya asked. Since your people developed radio communications, yes. The Concordat always monitors emerging species. Kalara's colors shifted to something amused. Your entertainment broadcasts are fascinating. All that conflict and drama, yet you tell stories where individuals overcome impossible odds through determination alone. Very revealing about your species' psychology. Maya thought of every action movie, every underdog sports film, every story of humans refusing to quit even when logic said they should. We like to think we're stubborn. You are survivors, Kalara corrected. And the galaxy needs survivors who still remember how to fight for what is right. She extended a data chip. This contains access codes to the entire arena system, as well as confidential files on current reform efforts that have failed. Use them wisely. Maya took the chip. Why are you really doing this? The reform, I mean. You could have pardoned me and maintained the status quo. Kalara was quiet for a long moment, her colors cycling through patterns too complex to read. Finally, she spoke. Because I watched you in the arena, human. I watched you fight opponents who should have killed you easily, and I wondered what you would do when victory seemed impossible. Do you know what I saw? What? You didn't fight to win. You fought because surrender was not in your nature. Kalara's voice softened. I have ruled for nearly 150 years, and in that time, I have become careful, measured. I make decisions that maintain stability, even when I know in my heart that they are unjust, because stability seems more important than individual suffering. Watching you reminded me that civilizations are not built on stability alone. They are built on the courage to change when change is needed. Maya met her gaze, all 6 eyes reflecting her own determined face back at her. I won't let you down. I know. That is why I chose you. Kalara turned to leave, then paused. One more thing, Liaison Santos. The Zarathi blade master you killed in the arena? His name was Kethro Vorsane. He was the nephew of the Zarathi Empress, sent to the arena as punishment for questioning military doctrine. Maya's blood went cold. I didn't know, either did he, until it was too late. The Zarathi Empress wanted him dead for his insubordination, but execution would have made him a martyr. So she arranged for him to face the most dangerous opponent in the arena system, you. Kalara's colors darkened. The corruption runs deeper than you realize, Maya Santos. You have made enemies today who will smile to your face and plot your death in shadows. Trust no one completely, document everything, and remember, politics kills more people than any arena ever could. Then, she was gone, leaving Maya alone in the vast chamber with the weight of an empire pressing down on her shoulders. Maya looked at the data chip in her hand. A year to reform a system that had persisted for centuries. Enemies who'd killed to maintain their power. The fate of thousands of prisoners hanging on her success. She smiled grimly. The arena had tried to break her with warriors and blades and blood. Politics would try to break her with paperwork and procedure and pressure. She'd survived the first. Time to show the galaxy that humans didn't quit, no matter the battlefield. Time to fight.